Wales target a first win of this year's Six Nations against an out-of-sorts France. My name's Mark, let's talk rugby. Wales, a team without a win so far in this year's Six Nations, but certainly some encouraging performances. Whereas France, not much encouragement to be taken from their performance at all this year, despite that win in Edinburgh and that draw that they really shouldn't have gotten against Italy as well. But, if you're Wales, you're thinking this might be one that is there for the taking. It is Wales versus France. It's in the Principality Stadium in Cardiff. It's on Sunday, 10th of March 2024. Kickoff is at 4 p.m. GMT. Last year was France 41, Wales 28. France started pretty well in that game. Then Wales came back to them a little bit before France kind of, sealed the game in the last kind of 10 minutes or so to, stave off an unlikely Welsh comeback win there. But this year, it's, seems to be, although personnel very similar, it seems to be a very different French side, and on the Welsh side, personnel very different. And, that kind of one of the things that makes this one an exciting prospect for this weekend. We're going to have a look at the two teams, and we're going to start with the Welsh team. So the front row, Gareth Thomas, Ryan Elias and Kieran Azarati. Second row, Will Rowlands and Adam Beard. The back row, David Jenkins, Tommy Raphael and Aaron Wainwright. The halfbacks then, Tomas Williams and Sam Costello. Left wing, Rio Dyer. Centres, Owen Watkin and Joe Roberts. Right wing, Josh Adams. And fullback is Cameron Winnett. On the bench then we have Elliot D, Corey Domachowski, Dylan Lewis, Alex Mann, Mackenzie Martin, Garrett Davies, Jon Lloyd and Mason Grady. Now let's have a quick look at the French team. So the front row is Cyril Bay, Julien Marchand, Uni Antonio, Thibaut Flamand, Emmanuel Maufu, back row, Francois Cross, Charles Olivon and Gregory Aldred. Halfbacks, Nolan Legaric and Tomo Ramos. Left wing, Louis Bielbiari. Centres, Nicolas Deporte, alongside Gael Fiku. Right wing, Damien Pinot, and fullback is Leo Barre. Then on the bench we have Pito Mawaka, Sebastian Taufi-Fanua, Georges Henry Colombe, Romain Taufi-Fanua, Alexandre Roma, Paul Baudin, Maxime Luku, and Yoram Mofana. Okay, so let's start with a closer look at the Welsh team. So front row, Gareth Thomas, Ryan Elias and Kieran Azarati has kind of emerged through the tournament as the starting front row, I think, for Wales. At this point, it did kind of change a little bit, but I think it seems like Azarati has been promoted from being a bench, a replacement to now being the starting tight head. And I think his performance merit that as well. Then Ryan Elias, I think there's decent competition between himself and Elliot D still for that hooker position. So I don't think that's fully settled, but at the moment he is the man in possession. Then Gareth Thomas there, I think compared to Domachowski, who maybe struggled a little bit early on in the tournament, he gives them a little bit more stability there in set piece and work around the park as well. The second row then you got Will Rowlands and Adam Beard. We've seen a bit of change in there as well, but I think this is a decent combination there. The French second row has changed a lot, and it's changed again this week too. So we'll see how these two guys go. David Jenkins moving into that back row. The captain lining out at 6 this time. Got Tommy Reffel, who's probably been Wales's best player of the tournament. Aaron Wainwright, not far behind him. Really great ball carrier for the team. Halfbacks then, Tomas Williams gets another go at 9. And then, just as we're getting a little bit of continuity maybe at 9, now we're changing at 10. So Sam Costello coming back in, should I say, to start at 10. Rio Dyer, I think, if fit, he is the left wing option for you. Centers changing all the time. We've got another new combination here. Owen Watkin and Joe Robertson there. So just going to have to see how these guys go and what Gatland's plan is long term for that centre pairing. I think only he knows at this stage. Josh Adams continues on the right wing. Again, I think if there was a younger, quality option in there, maybe you would see him dropping to the bench or even out of the squad. But at the moment, it's not there. Cameron Winnett, he's come in and he's made up 15 shirt his own. He did really well, I thought, against Ireland last week. And I think he's going to be the 15 for years to come at this stage. He looks like to the manner born, as it were, back there, 15 shirt. So hopefully he stays fit and he's able to, continue there for the rest of this year's, not just this tournament, but into the summer and also the autumn fixtures as well, to kind of just make sure that there are no other options really for Gatland there, or certainly no other players who are pushing him for his position if he's fit and available. Then the bench has said Elliot D. I think he himself and Elias still battling out for the hooker position. Domachowski, he's got a bit to prove, I think, coming off the bench, because he was a starter earlier on in the tournament. So he's going to want to try and push his case, obviously, from there. Dylan Lewis, another one, Azarati kind of leapfrogged him as starting a tight head. So someone, again, who's got to add from the bench. And, going up against that French replacement front row is not going to be easy for these guys. But if you are going to prove yourself at this level, that they're the type of games you want to be in. Alex Mann, who I thought had an excellent game against Ireland and has been playing well for Wales. He's dropped down to the bench now with Jenkins moving into that back row, and then Mackenzie Martin, who's been good quality off the bench for them too. So they're going to have really good impact in that second row and back row, I think. Late on, whatever way they reshuffle things once both Mann and Martin come back on. Gareth Davies, another option at 9. But Tomas Williams would hope that Gatland has decided that he's the guy there and he's not going to be changing again. And Davies is just there to try and cement his place in matchday squads. Johan Lloyd looked like he was going to be Gatland's 10. Now it's swung back Costello's way in this one. So, if it feels like whoever puts in decent performance, either starting or off the bench, is the 10 for the next game, but you're not guaranteed anything beyond that at the minute. Mason Grady there then is the kind of utility back, but I kind of expect him to come on in the centres unless there is some kind of injury elsewhere in the back line. Okay, so that is the Wales team. Now let's have a closer look at that French team. So front row by Marchand and Antonio, it's as close to a starting front row as France can get at the minute, and all quality players. But France's problem isn't the quality of the players, it's the quality of the team. For whatever reason, they're not firing as a complete unit. These guys, we've seen them all kind of having, decent impact, especially carries. Antonio always makes ground. Bai is a real threat close to the line, as is Marchand as well. And, looking at the work rate, it's one of these where you wonder, why is it going wrong for the total, the team, as it were, rather than kind of looking at individuals. I don't think it's a personnel problem. I think it's just maybe just as a group, they're low on confidence and they need, a win where they feel like they've earned that win and to kind of G them up a bit. You got something that will G them up is Thibaut Fleury returning in the second row. He was, absolutely brilliant for France last year, and having him back in there can only make them a better team. He's got Manuel Maufu beside him there, though. So, what we've seen recently is kind of one kind of experienced guy with a newer guy. We saw it with Tuilagi there last week as well, although Tuilagi, I thought, had a good game, but we've got another new second row combination there, albeit that Flamand is certainly would have been a fixture in the team had he been fit. The back row is looking a lot kind of more settled, or certainly more familiar. We got Kroos there at 6, Olivan at 7, and Aldrit at 8. I would say, it's France's best back row. These guys, they worked well together as a unit, but we've seen kind of more again, individual stuff rather than working as a unit and as a team from them. So we've seen like glimpses of really good play from each of them, but just not that kind of, togetherness really from the pack and from the team. Then at 9, Nolan Le Garrec finally gets his start that his performances from the bench, I think, have merited, for a long time now. I thought he would have got maybe the chance to start last time out against Italy, but, he's definitely good value for his starting position. Tomo Ramos moves from fullback into 10 as, France's injury worries in that area continue. He's a decent option there at 10, but there's a reason why, when others are available, he's at fullback. He's certainly nowhere near first choice. He's going to be able to do a job, but with the team low on confidence, is that going to be a good enough job is the question. Then on the left wing have Louis Bielbiari, who we know, once he gets into a little bit of space, he can really exploit that. He's a good finisher, and also, very aware as well of, who's running in support of him too. And he runs good support lines for others that make breaks too. So, if France do get some front foot ball and especially some turnover ball, that guy is going to be someone that you're going to want to watch out for. Then in the centres, no Dante because of the red card, and we got Nicolas Deporte there. I think that's as close as I'm going to come to pronounce his name properly, I think. But he's in there again beside Fiku. Fiku has had a decent tournament without being outstanding. I think you'd say that for a lot of kind of France's stars, is that they haven't been at that level that we've seen them in the last few years, but they haven't looked terrible either. Which is probably why they were able to stick in that game against Scotland when they should have been, kind of put to the sword. But, Fiku is going to have to maybe, do a little bit of babysitting there at 12, although again, it's not really an established centre pairing that they're coming up against. So it could be just a case of, trying to actually exploit that Welsh centre pairing. So I think the centre battles will be an interesting one. They got Damien Penaud just to try machine out there on the right wing, although he hasn't got that many tries this year. Like, it's strange actually not seeing him up there, vying with the likes of Duhan van der Merwe for top try scorer. So maybe he's going to get a couple in this one. Then we got Leo Barre, who has come in at fullback with Tomo Ramos moving to 10. So, he's a quality player, but again, it's one of these ones where he, Ramos has been 15 for France for so long. If there's somebody new in there, well, you would imagine that Wales are going to kick up some bombs and see, how he goes against the likes of Winnett and Josh Adams coming up to challenge him, from kind of, contestable kicks as well. So we'll see how that goes for him. But certainly a dangerous player if he gets into space and running back on the counter-attack as well. On to the replacements then, we got Pito Mauvaka. Always good quality coming off the bench, I think, from him. Sebastian Taufifenua and George Henry Colombe. Not the most experienced guys coming on, in the propping positions. And we have seen kind of a drop off in France when they do change, although these guys, they had a few kind of wins as well coming on. I think, was it against Scotland? Was it Scotland or Italy to come on? And they won an important scrum penalty, and that kind of really lifted them and lifted the team as well. It might have been against Scotland, actually. Then Romain Taufifenua, he probably would have been thinking that he was going to start this week, beside Flamand in the second row. So I'm expecting him to maybe, come on with a point to prove as well. Then we have Alexandre Roma is going to be covering the back row. So, and then you got Paul Baudin there as well. So both of them potentially coming on in the back row. And, 6-2 split for France. You got Maxime Lucu. So we'll see, Lagarde has been the guy injecting pace off the bench. Can Lucu do the same when he comes on? Then you got Yoram Mofana as your kind of utility back there, who, I've a feeling that he might actually potentially come on for Barre, with Ramos maybe dropping back to full back, but we'll have to see what actually happens there. So those are the teams. We're going to have a look at the stats of both teams. So in terms of tries, Wales have gotten 7 so far, and France just 5. Wales' top try scorer is Alex Mann. He's not in the starting team for this one. And then France have no one over 1 try, which is, with the likes of Pinot and Bielbiari in their squad, is very, very strange. Successful penalties then, none for Wales so far, 5 for France. So Wales have had this thing of turning down penalty chances all the time. And I think if they're going to get that win, they need to be taking their 3 points when it makes sense against this French team. I think that could make the difference, and we might actually see them do that in this one as well. So I'm expecting, Wales to get that first penalty and maybe a few more on the board as well in this game. Attacking 22 entries, then 23 for Wales and 22 for France. So kind of similar there, but obviously Wales have had a better return with 2 more tries than France. Carries then 386 for Wales. They're right up there, towards the top. France in the middle of the pack on 320. For Wales then, they have Wainwright with 38 carries. He is the second most, has the second most carries so far in the Six Nations. Winnett is third with 37. And then the highest placed Frenchman is Bai with 30 on it down in 7th place. Total passes then, 475 for Wales. They certainly like to pass the ball a lot. France slightly lower with 421. And then Tomas Williams with 175 is the second most passer in the tournament. And Lucu with 124 is fourth, but obviously he is on the bench. So you'd expect with Williams starting that gap between those two is going to grow. Then offloads, Wales with just 13 so far in the tournament. I think second least of the tournament. France with 24 up there. I think Ireland, Scotland, France and Italy are all 24, 25. Nick Tompkins has the most for Wales, which is 5, and he's third overall. So, Wales as a team don't offload that much, but Nick Tompkins does. But if he's not on the pitch, then there's no sense in thinking about that from his point of view. And with the changes that keep happening with the centre pairings, like he's not there this week. So, their top offloader is gone, which might mean that are we going to see even less offloads from Wales because of that. For France then, Pinot with 4 is fourth overall, and he's their top offloader. in the tournament. Tackle percentages then 90% for Wales and 86% for France. So, or hang on, I think I might have got that the wrong. Let me just double check, because I think I might have gotten that the wrong way around. I'm going to check here. So let me see. Tackles missed, tackles made, tackle. Oh yeah, it's the wrong way around. So it should be, you're going to see it the right way around, because I'm now correcting it while I'm recording this, but it's Wales 86% and France 90%. Yeah, the reason why that jumped out to me as being wrong is because I was thinking while I was looking at the stats that, there's a lot of talk about, France and their defense, etc. But the defense has actually been, in terms of at least first up tackles, the best in the tournament. Wales down there kind of in the middle of the pack. But obviously the problem with France isn't the first up tackles. It's the whole thing of once the tackle is broken, they seem to be conceding, on far too many occasions. In terms of actually tackles made, then Reffel with 46 has the second most tackles in the tournament. David Jenkins, who is playing 6, so with them 6 and 7, he has 41. He's 4th in the tournament. For France, then you have Kroos with 40 in 5th, and Audubon with 38 down in 6th. So in this one we have 4 of the top 6 tacklers in the tournament. Then tackles missed, 71 for Wales and just 48 for France is a pretty good return. And in terms of missed tackles, then Rio Dyer with 8, he's 6th overall in the tournament, and not too many Frenchmen missing a whole heap of tackles. Breakdown steals then 7 each. But Reffel has 6 of those 7 for Wales, putting him first in the tournament. And Aldred has 3 of France's 7, putting him 4th. So it's going to be a hell of a contest, I think, at the breakdown between these two teams. So final thoughts then. It's, as I said, Wales, they are out of sorts. France are out of sorts. Wales, you can see that the confidence is coming from those guys, from the performance. They're young guys, so that the defeats are not having, that big an impact in terms of, if I think it was a more established team, they would be worried about the fact that they've lost 3 on the trot this year, and then stretching back into last year as well. I don't know how many on the trot it is, but they're young guys. They're showing promise, and they're showing that they're getting better game by game as well. But they've got to put an 80-minute performance together, because they've still only scored their points in one half of each of the games. Be that like the second half against Scotland and Ireland, and the first half against England. They've got to score on both sides of that halftime break against France. They've also got to start taking their penalties if they're going to win. France, like, you look at those players and think there's so much quality and stardust in that team. How are they where they are? But they are where they are. And, there's something wrong in there. It reminds me a little bit of Ulster, and the Ulster thing ended up with the coach going. People are saying like that there's no way that's going to happen with France, but, things like that can change very, very quickly. And if they lose this one, you could see momentum starting in terms of potential coach changes as well this year. But we'll have to see, is it going to be just like some of the back room apparently aren't getting on too well with each other, and lots of kind of rumors of disquiet in the camp and stuff like that. So we'll have to see, can they pull themselves together for this one? I'm not sure. And because of that, and because I think Wales are going to be a bit more pragmatic in this one and start taking those shots at goal, that I'm going to go for a Wales. It would have been an upset win, but now I'm thinking, is it really, when you look at the form France are in? So I'm going to go for a Wales win in this one.